1 year. Oh, man.
Crazy. We just wanted to mark this milestone with you guys. Oh, man.
Okay, if we look a little bit wet. We just got back from a walk in the rain, and Go ahead.
I mean, we're sitting down today marks one full day on...
1 full day.
On Trikafta, right?
1 full day?
Or no?
1 full year.
1 full year! I mean, like, oh, wow. A year ago, you were on Trikafta for 1 full day.
Oh, yes. And also, I wasn't on full dose for the first... This is the actual card that my first dose came off of.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I didn't start the full dose for 3 days.
Okay.
That was, how to say, experimental, cautious liver.
Yeah, we didn't know how Mary's liver would respond to Trikafta. It was before it was FDA approved, and her doctors were kind of tapering up, I guess. Or not tapering, but
just giving my liver some time to kind of figure stuff out.
But that's beside the point. We just got back from a walk, and we want to just sit down today, 1 year since Mary took that first dose, sitting in that research study room.
I was not a part of the research study because I have liver disease. I'm excluded from most, whatever. I couldn't be in the research study.
But we were there in the research room because Mary was starting on compassionate use, or otherwise known as expanded access to Trikafta. If you're new here, Trikafta, we aren't recording with this microphone. We're recording with that one.
Oh, I looked at the mic and it wasn't on. Different mic. Okay.
If you're new here, Trikafta is a groundbreaking medication for cystic fibrosis that...
It's a CFTR modulator.
Which, unless you're kind of in the CF community, you probably don't know what that means, but it goes in and helps Mary's cells, which are genetically mutated, to work better. It's not a cure. It's a medication, though, that is the first medication Mary has been able to take in her almost 31 years of life that addresses the root causes rather than just the symptoms.
Yeah. I feel really overwhelmed with, it's a 1 year Trikaftaversary. How am I supposed to feel? And to be honest, we're filming this a day late because the last 2 days I was completely incapacitated with migraines or headaches. I don't know the right term.
Yeah.
So I was kind of bummed out that I couldn't really throw a party.
Mary's been talking about, I know, we didn't do the balloons. You wanted to do the balloons. You have balloons?
We bought the number 1 balloon, so it would be 1 year.
Yeah.
Imagine a gold balloon.
Okay, in the last month or so, Mary's been talking about, it's coming up on 1 year. I want to do something for my Trikaftaversary, because I think this is why it's significant to us, is when something life-changing happens in your life, like your birthday, the day you were born, or, I don't know.
When you graduate college or when you graduate high school, you always say, oh, such and such an event. Yeah, that was before I graduated. It was in college, or it was the year after I graduated. You kind of mark things by those timeline markers.
True.
Is that where you were going?
I guess I'm thinking more on the lines of maybe you got your first job, or you remember the date. We will always remember August 2nd, 2019.
Yeah.
I just think there's something significant because it really was a life-altering start of a journey.
We had no idea if you haven't watched the vlog from August 2nd of 2019, we will link it here. It's pretty surreal to think back to sitting on that exam bed. And actually, I brought up the famous Go sweatshirt. And I thought it's kind of funny that this sweatshirt, which I wore that day because I really wasn't feeling great, and this sweatshirt covers a multitude of not feeling great days. And I sat there and took that pill, and like, we sat there and talked about what if.
Yeah.
Like, let's just dare to dream.
There were so many what ifs.
And all of our wildest dreams for what this medication could potentially do in my body, it did more than we knew to dream for. And one of the things that I am really like speechlessly grateful for is my morning. Like I never dreamt to enjoy mornings, and I officially enjoy my mornings now. And I don't go to bed dreading the moment when my eyelids open the next day, because before Trikafta, that second my eyes opened, my body started coughing, and trying to wake up was so gross.
Yeah.
Because my lungs were just drowning in mucus. And we know now so much of my issue was mucus, because now I have so much less mucus. And it's interesting because this drug doesn't come without side effects. And side effects are going to be different for every patient, just like every drug. And through the last year, I remember at first saying like, oh, that's interesting. Is that a side effect? I don't know. Time will tell. And now I'm a year in, and honestly, I'm still saying that. The last few months, we've been dealing with some kind of unexplained fatigue situation. And it's interesting because we're still in this place of saying like, I'm guessing that's related to the drug, but honestly, it's a really new drug, so they don't have all the answers yet. Yeah. But
there were a lot of things. Oh, you can finish that thought, but
just the idea of like potential side effects versus benefit.
Yeah.
Not even comparable.
Yeah. I think it's interesting when we started, and there's so much we could say about like how Trikafta has improved Mary's health, but I feel like we sat down right here in the same room at 6 months, and I feel like the improvement that we saw at 6 months, fast forward to a year, we could say all the same things. And also, like, Mary got a virus, and she got a cold. I don't know if that was before or after the 6 months, but, like, there's been more, like, side things that her body has been able to fight better because of Trikafta, and that's just amazing. And she hasn't needed to go on IV antibiotics, although we look back at kind of when she got that virus, and we probably would have gone on IV antibiotics if it wasn't a pandemic. But all that being said, Trikafta, we can point back to that and say Trikafta is part of the reason she was able to fight, her body was able to fight like it was. But in all of these things, like, we're still kind of evaluating, like, what is this drug doing in her body, and how does it affect everyday life, and like Mary said, like the mornings and the less coughing is amazing. There's also, I think now that we're at a year, we can pretty confidently say that headaches are worse because of Trikafta, and we don't know if that's hormones or how that's interacting with the body.
Yeah.
But the reason I say now that we're at a year is we've always tied Mary's headaches like in our minds, and like talking with, we went to all kinds of specialists trying to figure out these headaches in the past, and we've tied them to her sinus disease from cystic fibrosis, and she had a sinus surgery last July.
July 5th.
So a little over a year ago, and sinus surgery had always taken away the headaches for, 6 months?
About 6 months.
And so she had that sinus surgery in July. Headaches were kind of getting worse. And then...
Before the sinus surgery.
Yes, before the sinus surgery. And then a few weeks after starting Trikafta, the headaches started coming back. And it was like, well, that's weird because sinus surgery usually works longer than this. But we always knew that the headaches were a combination of coughing,
yep,
hormones, and sinus disease.
Yep.
And so we knew that if we took the sinus disease out of the equation, or like helped it with a sinus surgery, that these two things would be more under control. But I think now that we're at a year and kind of looking back on the year, I think it's pretty clear that that's one side effect of...
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that's in the paperwork, that patients who were on the...
I'm pretty sure every drug that comes out says
headaches
are a side effect.
That's true.
But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I've had... I don't know, I'm trying to think, like, where do we go from here? The side effects, I will say the fatigue situation, I'm really hopeful. Hopeful's not the right word. I'm really interested to continue conversations with my various teams about the fatigue situation. And it's very, very different than I've ever felt. So,
yeah.
Anyway, there's that. It's becoming pretty well known, I think, in the medical community as far as Trikafta goes, that low blood sugar is pretty common as well. And it was interesting. I took that pill, and by the time we got down to the car on August 2nd, my blood sugar dropped. And it, like, kind of in a different way than it normally would. Like, oh, this is weird timing. Like, anyway.
Yeah.
At that moment, I was like, oh, this is weird. This is really low. And, like, what? And I thought, could this be Trikafta? And we were like, who knows? Well, a year later, yeah, it could be. And it probably is related. Of course, I had blood sugar drops before I took it, but...
Yeah.
Anyway.
That is one aspect of Mary's life that has worsened through this last year, is blood sugar maintenance. And we kind of guessed that Trikafta has a place in that, but also CF bodies, as they progress, also pancreases just don't work quite as well. So
Pancreas,
is that a word?
It's interesting. I don't know. Pancreases, I've never said multiple pancreas.
Yeah, interesting.
But at the end of the day, like, all of the things that... all the side effects or potential side effects that are probably related to Trikafta, they just don't outweigh the gift of being able to, being able to catch a cold and get over it. Not being able to, but I have had 3, like Peter was mentioning, I think it was 2 colds and 1 virus. I guess a cold might be a virus, whatever. This really bad, weird flu, whatever it was.
Or flu-like virus, yeah.
And my cough got horrible. I was coughing up mucus. I was coughing up blood again. Like, it went from normal Trikafta, normal me, like Trikafta baseline, to like pre-Trikafta baseline, like this. Boom. And the first time I caught that cold, I think we were like, well, it was a good run. It was nice to feel better for that long. And then I was like, I think I took 2 oral antibiotics for 2 weeks, and I got better. And we were like, what?
Yeah.
The oral antibiotics are working? And
that was like 3 months in, so we were still, like, it was all new. We didn't know what to expect. I feel like now that we're at a year, it's like the stability that we've seen, like, this is what Trikafta does in Mary's body, and it's absolutely amazing. And like, lung function went up in the first 3 months.
Month even.
First month. Well, I'm just saying, like, when did it, like, because it's been like
months.
It's been stable pretty much up and down from that kind of point. From basically within 3 months, she had a new baseline.
Yeah,
is what I'm saying.
Yep, and I've gone up a couple percent, down a couple percent, and it just doesn't matter. And the interesting thing is, my lung function was higher in college, but functionally, I'm doing better now.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I mean, I think functionally, with practically little to no coughing during everyday life, how much that affects function, even when you have lower lung function. So lung function and practical function, which we've always known, are often very different things.
Yeah.
But I think also our perspective is skewed by so many years of decline.
I agree with you.
So like, I think you could, like, it's easy to say, like,
that's true.
It's easy to say that you're better than back then, but like, you did a ton when you were in college. So like, I think that there's it's hard to compare, but
and also acknowledging, like, I still feel my limits, basically, like, oh, I want to go, and like, I need to sit down and rest, aside from the fatigue stuff before that started, just my normal everyday life. The reality is I'm still a 30-year-old CF body that had 30 years of decline and pretty acute decline in the last few years. So like, I see those limits, but I am like, way to go, body, to like, I'm just so thankful.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing. Trikafta was recently approved for the UK, and I am so, like, relieved and thankful.
I think like by the end of this month is what they're hoping for, people getting it. But
I'm so glad. But Canada still needs approval, and so many other places.
Yeah.
So
it's totally changed our lives. We are in such a different place this August than we were last August. Last August we didn't know what the next few months and year, like, they were just, like, we had started Trikafta, and like Mary said, we had these hopes, but like, it was kind of like, we hope it
brings
just
stability.
It felt really wishful, just because of all, like, the trajectory that Mary's health was on. And so, we just want to sit down and make this video and just say, wow.
Wow.
It's been a year, and
it's pretty mind-blowing.
It is. And we're, like Mary said, we are super, super grateful, and yeah.
Yeah. So I will continue to do the very best that I can to take care of this body, and we will enjoy and we will make the most of the days where I'm doing well. And whenever the day comes that decline starts again, or if for some reason my body can't handle Trikafta anymore, I'm gonna cry, but I'm also gonna look back on this time and just be so thankful. Like, I've said this word before, that it's been such a respite.
Yeah.
And I did not expect that, and it's just a really unexpected blessing. And I do hope that so many more patients can... I know a ton of you already are on it and experiencing the same or even better results than I am, which it's just mind-blowing when my friends start going on it and I start hearing like how well they're doing. It's like, yes, I knew it was gonna work for you. So anyway, we're grateful, and whew, Mr. Go Sweatshirt, thanks for carrying me through the sick days and now coming on all the adventures because I'm doing so well. It's an ode to the Go Sweatshirt.
1 year.
1 year. Oh, man.
Crazy. We just wanted to mark this milestone with you guys because you've been along on the journey as well. And thank you for coming along, cheering us on, and
as always,
we'll see you tomorrow.
Good night.
Good night, guys.
It's only right to end on August 2nd, 2019, where it all began.